in the saddle, and then we'll begin the third stage.
ก็เสร็จสิ้นภารกิจในขั้นตอนที่ 2 กันไปแล้วนะครับทีนี้เรามาดูอีกเรื่องหนึ่งที่มีความสำคัญเช่นกันในการฝึกม้าใหม่นั่นก็คือการให้อาหารครับ
Today we're talking about feeding the young horse, and Therese will talk about feeding the older horse in the stables. Keeping it very simple, we're assuming the young horse is coming off the stud or the place it was born, coming into the stables to be trained and broken in. So to start with, our feeding of cool energy, 3 kilograms a day. Feed times 4:30 in the morning, 11 o'clock in the morning, and then 6 o'clock at night. So 3 kilos a day is 1 kilo each feed at those times for the first week to 10 days. Then we're going to gradually introduce another 3 kilograms of performance, and that gets fed over 7 to 10 days, gradually, bit by bit, quarter, an eighth of a kilo, bit by bit, over that 7 to 10 days. So they will accumulate 6 kilos of feed, one of each, from then on till at the time it's finished, it's breaking in and progresses into more working stage. The Timothy hay, it's important you feed good quality hay for roughage, Timothy or alfalfa. They're 28 kilogram bales. They need 3 kilograms morning and night. Hay times to feed out is 9:30 in the morning and 3:30 in the afternoon. 28 kilograms, that should feed around 8 to 9 horses. The other thing they get in their feed is electrolytes. We're spreading that out 10 grams per feed per day, so 30 grams all up.
So as Warren's already described the feeding regimes, I'm going to talk about the individual feeds a little bit and why we feed these feeds. We're first going to look at the performance feed, and this feed is what we call a textured feed. It's textured because it has many components. It's not just a pelleted feed, but there are pellets in there. There are also whole grains in here. There are, you can see oats, whole oats. You can see what we call steam flaked corn. And we have a fiber pellet as well, and we have protein pellets, and we have whole sunflower seeds. Now, the unique components in the performance are the whole oats and also the steam flaked corn. Now, corn is sometimes not the most digestible in the horse's stomach, so what we do is we steam flake it, and by doing so, we increase the digestibility significantly in the horse's stomach so that we minimize the starch that can get to the horse's hindgut. And if too much starch gets to the horse's hindgut, we know we can have problems like colic. So we introduce this feed very slowly over, as he mentioned, 7 to 10 days because we want to minimize any swift changes to the hindgut as well. And we have the whole oats that are really digestible in the stomach as well. And then the fiber and the protein pellets, and the fiber pellet has really good quality fiber components of soybean hulls, which are really digestible in the hindgut as well. Now to look at the cool energy feed, we can see the difference in this feed. And this is a strictly pelleted feed, and it's actually what we call an extruded pellet. And it's extruded, which means we use high temperatures to force more fat into these pellets. And so it's a really strong pellet. It's a high quality pellet. We have fewer what we call fines, and the feed is less dusty then. So, but we can also get, so this feed is 10% fat, which is really significant. And it also has 15% fiber. And the fiber source in here is important too because it is beet pulp and soy hulls as well. Again, two very, very high quality forages for the horse's hindgut to keep the whole animal operating well and to make sure they maintain their health. Now, we have incorporated both of these feeds together for these working horses because number one, we like the level of protein in them. The 14% protein is good for these horses that are still growing and also working hard. And we also have incorporated significant amounts of fat and really quality forage in the feeds as well, the beet pulp and the soy hulls. And that's important because then we have a balance of energy sources. And that keeps, again, the horse's digestive system working well, and it keeps the bacteria in the hindgut healthy. So what we've struggle to do here, strive to do, is to make sure we have carbohydrate from the corn and oats digested in the stomach, and we've got fat digested in the stomach, and we've got really quality forage components of soybean hulls and beet pulp that again are digested in the hindgut. And so that's why we've combined these two feeds, and that's why these are the feeds that provide the best nutrition and the best energy for these working horses. Now, Warren's also already mentioned the use of forages, and that they feed here 3 kilos twice a day. Maxwin offers alfalfa and Timothy hays, both imported from America. Timothy, in my opinion, is a great everyday, all-day kind of forage. It is a high-quality protein, it's highly digestible, and especially the quality that Maxwin's shipping in here. Now, if you don't have the quality of Timothy available, and you have primarily a Pangola or an alternative, cut grass or something, then supplementing certainly with a few kilos of alfalfa is a very good alternative as well, in order to provide optimal protein and other nutrients, and really some good, highly digestible energy for the bacteria. Also, he mentioned that they feed the electrolyte at 3 times a day, 10 grams per day, so a total of 30 grams per day. Now, also, horses should always have available free choice salt, whether it's in the form of a lick or a block or something like that. That's really important, that all the horses should have that in their stalls, and they should also always have clean, fresh water available all day long. Horses should never be without that, and after hard work, if the horses are hot, they can have access to a little bit of that water, but not too much, so they can take a few sips while they're still hot, and then after they're cooled off, they can have, again, free choice access to clean, fresh water. Forage is an extremely important part of the horse's diet, and it's actually the most important part, so we should always remember to provide at least 6 to 7 kilos per day for an average-sized horse. Optimal nutrition suggests that we should feed about 1.5% of the horse's body weight. So a lot of these horses run between 400, 500, and sometimes up to 550 kilos. So we want to make sure we're giving them at least 6, 7 kilos a day. Also, they provide the hay here in hay nets that helps keep things off the ground. Also, it keeps the horses a bit busier. It takes a little longer for them to eat it, and it just sort of stretches out that forage throughout the day, and it keeps their minds a little bit more preoccupied, so they're not just standing around doing nothing. They can eat longer throughout the day.
แล้วเราก็ได้ทราบถึงการให้อาหารม้าที่ถูกหลักโภชนาการแล้วนะครับหากท่านใดมีข้อสงสัยเกี่ยวกับอาหารม้า Maxwin ก็สามารถเช็คเว็บไซต์ของเราได้ที่ www.perfectcompanion.com ตอนนี้เจ้าสงกรานต์ก็มาครึ่งทางของการฝึกม้าใหม่ที่มีคุณวอร์เรน ซัตตันเป็นผู้ฝึกแล้วเพื่อไม่เป็นการเสียเวลาเราไปชมกันในขั้นตอนที่ 3 เลยครับ
This is all the gear that we're looking to use for the third stage. The third stage is in about between day 15 to day 21, depending on the horses. Some can be longer, some can be shorter. So we're assuming the horse's head is actually inside the bridle, the head collar and the bridle. This is what we call a double clip lead. So we need to connect it to either side of the bit. Then our lead is connected to the bottom ring of the head collar and the ring of the double clip. To have more control, but not totally on the mouth, equal parts to the head collar and bridle. Then we move on to the stage where they're having their first rides. So their first rides, we're obviously putting reins on our bridle to steer them. This lunge lead, because they'll have a lunge beforehand once we tighten the girth up gradually. This is what we call a half-breed breaking in saddle. It's basically a cross between a western saddle, because of the swinging fenders, and a stock saddle. So we have a security strap in front here. It's got a lovely deep seat to sit your knees behind these knee pads and sit on the young horse securely. This is connected obviously by the girth and our stirrup irons, and it comes through and it works on a pulley system, which I can show you at a later date how to do. This is now stage 3 of the process. This stage can take up to anywhere between 14 days to 21 days, 2 or 3 weeks, depending on the horse. Our horse Songkran is working really nicely. He's in the program, now been in for 2 weeks. He's had the tacking up stage 1. The second stage was his driving. The third stage today is his first ride. So today he will have the saddle on, which he's had on twice before today for his last drives. I will give him a quick drive, then we will ride him for the first time. So I'm going to saddle him up and then we get going. This saddle on 2 or 3 times now, so he's used to it. I can just put this on like a normal saddle. He's used to me flapping around and doing all sorts of things. Now I have a piece of string here, Angola string. We're going to tie these stirrups underneath because these reins are going to be threaded through. So we don't want them flapping out underneath when the reins are through. You'll see in a minute. To drive him for the last time in preparation to ride him for the first time. So he knows how to stop, how to turn. He's done that, he's learnt all about it. This is a loosening up exercise in preparation. Always take things at each stage. So we're doing the last stage first before we do the next stage. Okay, we've driven our horse with the draw rein effect. Now he's due to have this connected directly to the bit. This is to simulate the rider's hands as if he has reins. Get up. Good boy. Canter. Yesterday he had his first lesson of stepping on and off. Today's lesson is going to be very basic. I just want to give him the feel of me on his back. I want him to see me on his back. I want him to be turning nicely left and right, following his whole body around. And I want to see him stopping well. A lot more stops will come with practice second and third rides. It's like the first driving. More turns than stopping, and then more stopping than turns as the days go on. Going to get on sideways and sit on the horse sideways to let him get the feeling of my weight, and then I'll step over into the saddle. Good boy. Holding the back of the saddle, going up, having that inside contact. It's always important. If the horse wants to do anything, it can spin around you. Good boy. Good boy. Good boy. Getting my stirrup on the other side. A little wiggle, make him aware that I'm up here. Everything's safe. Distribute your weight around. Start moving your legs a little bit while you've got the aid of someone holding the horse. You can confidently move around in the saddle. Okay, young. Can let go and walk beside the horse. I'm going to keep walking. My feet are on. He's felt my heels on his belly. There's no reaction there. Now Yong can peel off into the center. Just quietly move off. That's it. Yep. And now it's just horse and rider. I teach horses to turn. I pivot my body in the saddle and my hand comes out and I look in the direction that I'm turning. The horse can actually see which way. So everything is a simple process that has been made the most basic you could possibly do for the horse to learn easy and quickly. All horses are different. You've got to use your legs a little differently, your hands a little differently, your body position. Do some more turning. Let's see, come on. Good boy. Oh, I'll get softer in my hand.